So hello everyone, and in this video what I will do is I will make my portfolio, like one of the projects from my portfolio, and which is basically the global oil price due to the US Iran war. So what I will do is I have some data set and I will do its data analysis and make a full-fledged report. So this video is totally a raw video. I am not taking any accountant of editing all those things because I don't prefer edit all these things and then show you the good side only that usually all YouTubers do, and it basically misguide you and like what can I say, like they give you a persona that they are very good and you're not that capable of doing something. So coming from a person who looking for jobs in the field of data science and having around like 1 year type of experience for the field of data science, and in terms of coding I have some 3-4 years of experience. So how I make a video, like how I make a project for my portfolio, so this is a whole video and I don't know how much time it would take and how long this video would be, but I would try to make a video as short as possible, but I guess it would be taking around 2 hours or 3 hours of time. So let's go. So this is the channel that I was talking about, named Kavan, and over here you can see it has basically two videos that I really like over three: simulating gravity, black hole, and atom. So I have particularly two things in my mind. As you can see over here, I have opened Kaggle. So Kaggle is basically for those who want to find some data sets, some models, some benchmarks, basically all for the data science field. So if you want something for your basically portfolio that can be shown, that like this is my GitHub. So over here you can see some like a README file that would demonstrate as your portfolio, and of course this is publicly available and you can see and you can copy paste this things. And now you can see there are pinned repos over here. What repo is basically, like if I click on this social media addiction report, so whatever I did, let's say the png, whatever I done, like this is some png that can be shown over here, and over here the readme file demonstrate what. So this social media action report, some climate analysis, Netflix analysis, so all of these are things that I've done in my past, so this count as my projects to be precise. So here you can see .csv file. .csv file is basically data set. Same goes for here. This is some readme file, which is this, and then climate analysis IPNY. So this is basically the Jupyter notebook. Over here you can see the code, the answers, and stuff like that. And I have some like the results over here. Everything would be in the notebook. Now what I want to do is to find out a data set which I already find which I already found, but still, like this one. So as you know, in today's time we have some US-Iran war, so global petrol prices have been impacted a lot, and what I seen is, okay, I have some head title, then about the data set I have some description about it, and now here the readme file, what the title says that about this file, there are description before war or after war. So we have some files over here. Of course we have 6 files named as country impact, crude oil, petrol price, pros and cons, and war timeline. We have some overview over here, some metrics, the values, the files, and every file has some columns, which is very important because what we need is, so this basically column, this description is very important. Okay, so here we have a quick start thing and everything done. So what I see particularly, firstly the title that should be catchy. I got the I got attracted to this thing. Then I directly jumped in this README file. I wrote all these things. The main thing for me is particularly that how would you describe the data set? So basically, this data set should be described by you, like you, me, whatever the consumers are basically. So if I want is well documented, it is showing one over here. If I click it, so and then we have some average, like not authors, coverage, and all sorts of things. The main thing about all these things should be the uh, yes, made with firm energy data research. So basically, the data set should be reliable. It doesn't mean like if you are working over something and then you found out that those data set just random and it doesn't mean anything. So it wouldn't be a good data analysis. Now we have some notebooks and some codes by some other persons who are working over here. So you can download it by a zip file, which I do, or some import and all sorts of things. Okay, so over here, this is my Ubuntu terminal. I have already activated my, what can I say, virtual environment, and I'm already in my site, and I have downloaded all the files that I want. Over here, you can see. Now, so the first thing is basically to go see the file. So let me first so this is a text file where I will write all the ideas that I'm getting. So the first thing, basically the steps, or let me write it as steps. So the first step is to see the data and to precise visualize it for answering some questions. And if you may ask that where the questions will I get, so basically all this question I will get from ChatGPT. So of course we are living in a time of AI. So I have already suggested ChatGPT of my data set. So here I have sent him the data set, and basically the main question it said like how much oil does it inflected and all those stuff. So I will ask him uh, the main questions, and we will try to answer it by plots or some model. Now, first, when we get the question, then we solve it. So, before everything, the main thing is to clean the data set. If it has some issues like, let's say, may it have some missing values, and if it doesn't have any missing values, then uh, maybe we have to collab, not collab, I would say add two columns, let's say date and time are different columns. So then we have to make it as date time. You got the point that I was saying. Basically, this is basically the cleaning data set. And then what we do is we uh, make a model if I required any. If it doesn't, then it's fine. We will just make some logics like or let me write it big. So, or we will just make some logic or allo and find out the answer. Simple as that. And after all of these things, we will make a report from all the obviously questions and answer. Let me write it. Hmm. So we will report all of these things to make a report, and it will get attached to my attached to my C. Simple as that. So basically, I will follow these 5 steps. It's not simple, but we will go through it. So I asked him, "Can you guide me and tell me what questions should I answer?" Basically, as a data analyst, like after my data analyst, so I have some simple question: how many countries including this data set? What regions are in? Basically, this question are basically to answer me what happened, and this all are just impact questions. Hmm. So this other question that we will try to answer: how did global oil price changes during the conflict? Hmm. Let's copy this thing and let's make a map first. Okay. So first questions. So the first question is this. Hmm. What we need is basically global oil price before versus after, so that we can approximate. But as we have a particular uh, what can I say, like we have a price column and a country column, so we will have to merge it and then we have to compare it by region or some kind of things. We will see. Okay. Mhm. Is there else I can say? No. Okay. So up to next question. Which country experienced the highest petrol increase? Simple as that. By data set, we will see the uh, price difference. Simple. The higher the price rate, the major change. Which region suffered the most? It's same as before answer. Nothing new. It's basically you may see these things and oh, it's very easy, but they are not. We have to work hard for this. So are oil import dependent countries more vulnerable? That's a very good question. Are oil import dependent countries more vulnerable? So it's basically a yes or no thing. We will know by dataset, and basically I'm not getting the idea of how I can. So basically no idea right now.
Maybe using ChatGPT or something else I can answer. How did Brent and behave during the war? How did Major Boss and trigger oil spikes? The same question. Which countries now have the most expensive petrol? This question and this question are same. Oh, like mm, more or less same. What is the global average petrol increase? Well, that would be a same column, so it doesn't matter much. Which economies face the biggest risk of raising? Okay, that's a good question. And another thing that I saw is basically what does this crisis mean for global energy transition? So these two questions are very good, and now we have to see these things. Okay, now using these steps, now I realized I have to make it bigger. So basically, using these steps, I'll answer this all 6 questions. Some we have very easy. This around 3 questions are easy and 3 questions are tough. So let's see. You can see this is my home. That's my PC's name. The code is basically my folder, and inside that folder, I am over the global better price folder. Now I have all those things. So now the first thing about the data analysis is basically follow these steps. Basically, see the data and visualize it for answering some questions. And if you don't know, like if you don't have any idea of how you can get some questions, basically you can get any type of questions if you want. Like if you have something in your mind, if yes, go for it. If not, then take the help of like if of course you don't have any colleague or team, that's why you are watching my video. So basically you can take the help of AI, particularly for suggesting ChatGPT because it is one of the leading one and it can give you good answers, or you can use cloud as well. Okay. Now the main questions is basically answered by plots or some model. The model can be used as algorithm as well. So basically it's what can I say? It's like a synonym word for algorithm, model, all sorts of things for you to be better in understanding it. The actual meanings are a bit different. It's vastly different, but to get the gist of it, you have to plot something, you have to model around something, you have to make some algorithm as well. So the main thing is to clean the data set, have some missing value. If it has some missing value, then I have to uh, like if it is calculatable, like if it is mathematical, then you have to calculate it, and if not, if it is like a let's say non-mathematical thing, then what you can do is you can just either skip it. Of course it like if that column, if that row is not if not important, you can skip it. If not, then you have to calculate, or like you have to manually research all those things to be precise. Now the second step is to maybe we have to add 2 columns. And now adding here 2 columns is basically this is an example. Like if we have, let's say, date and time on a different column, then what we have to do is we have to merge it over here, and you can say date and time over of one particular column if we required those things. So this column is this what kind of step is not necessary, but oftentimes it becomes necessity. Now we make some model if required, of course, if required. It doesn't mean that you want to make a model in like one of the most basic things as well. It won't be shooted and won't be feel good. You're just wasting energy. Or we will just make some logic or algo. Algo is basically short form of algorithm and find out the answer. Basically, what we want to do is to find out the answer, nothing else. Now, we will make a report from all the questions and answer attached to my CV. Basically, this option, this thing is particularly for your portfolio. Like for portfolio portfolio purpose, nothing else. And now, basically, I have some questions, and where I would find it, of course, over here. I gave them some, and then I gave him all the readme files column, and then I gave him something like, can you guide me and tell me what questions should I answer from my data analysis? So of course, it gives me some basic questions. That is how many countries are included in this data set, which regions are represent, average petrol price before the war, all sorts of things would be in your like not so necessary type of question. Then we have country level impact questions. Basically, which country is when highest most like highest petrol price increase, lowest increase, and all sorts of things. And now the question that I particularly like is basically this one, the most important question. How did the global price increase during the conflict and blah 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 blah. I also like these things as well. Can we predict price increase using country features? So this particular like, question requires a model, which is a predictive model. Basically, you have to predict by some country features, and then you have to make an algorithm, and then algorithm will work over a model, and that model will predict all these things. Do developing countries suffer more than developed countries? How sensitive are retail prices to crude oil prices? All these things, not I would say, except this or these two things, would require some model. And I don't have any idea of retail prices, retail value to crude oil prices. We have to just find out by columns and some mathematical algorithm, logic to be precise. Now, I've basically mm, I basically refined these 10 questions into some smaller questions, which is the sixth, all the six questions. So basically the first one is same. How did global prices change during the conflict? And to answer this thing, we have to make a global oil price before and after, price column, country column. So basically we have to make a before and after price. So in the same way that I shown you one of my portfolio project like social media action report. And then if I show you this, let's say this one, because I shown you earlier. So of course, if you remove this, basically the XY legends, so you can say this can be your after price and this can be a before price. So same type of graph and then answering this thing and with that portfolio, like project, not project, like plot. Which country experienced the most highest petrol increase? And this answer can be shown in particular graph that can be like not this one. Like it it is a like a bar chart type of thing. Ah, yep. So like how which experience the highest petrol increase? You can say like this type of graphs you can make, and some changes like you have can place dots, and then the dots can make some graph. like to show you, I have made a whiteboard. So basically, which country experienced the highest petrol increase? So you can basically make a like this type of graph and like dot dots, and then you can make uh, like this type of graph, and then all these points have some countries under it, and then these countries can be mentioned, and you can say like this country, and this country is basically the most increased priced, and by dataset we will see the price difference and then we can plot it. To make it more uh, understandable, which country experienced the highest petrol increase? So what we can do is, of course, we will see the data set and all sorts of things. We can also say that we will uh, compare the price as before and after. And let's say we have this data set, and this is for before, like this line is for before one. Now, if I say, like if I change any color, okay. So let's say uh, this is for before, like the, if may I write, so this one is for before one, okay. And let's say this color is for the after one. So some countries have dip, and then some countries have increase. Okay. Now, if you may see, we have this point, this gap, all this green one are particular some gap. So there are no increase. And then if you see, there are some countries which have decreased the value, some have increased them, and now you can see this gap. So the bigger the green line is, the bigger the price changes. You may understand these things. So like this country has a slight plus value. This country has the same value, so it's an equal thing. This country may have the negative value, like before it would have been a 90 bucks thing, now it would be in a 60 bucks thing. This country has like, if it previously it has some 100 values, so it would be around 200, and this country has like it's 100, so it would be 300. So like a triple plus, double plus. So which country experienced the highest petrol price? This country. So we have to make all this thing. Which region support the most? We have to see the region of those things, and then are oil import dependent countries more vulnerable? So reading this line, when I read this question, I answered it yes or no, and bracket. Oh, no idea. No ideas for me because I didn't have any idea about this thing. And yes or no is basically the question's answer. It would give you a yes answer or no. Either way, you have to justify your answer of how it's a yes answer and how it's a no answer. And that would be given by your plot. The fifth is, which economics face the biggest risk from risking fuel prices? Which country like which economies face the biggest risk from risking fuel prices? Can be seen or like explained when I will plot when we will plot this thing. What does this crisis mean for the global energy transition? So basically this and this question requires a lot of your, not your coding ability, it would challenge your thinking ability. How would you think? So of course that's why I didn't write any of the answers of the fifth and sixth question. I want you to write or think, like take a notebook or take any notes and write this question and think of how you can see. And of course this data set is in the description box, and you can see the details, all of all the questions columns I would say, and then on the readme file you can see every column has somewhere like some notation, some description, the category, the events, all sorts of things. So what does this crisis mean? And like the fifth and sixth question, you should answer it on your own. Let's see what you think, what the AI thinks, and what I think. So it's like a test for you, because these three questions is purely based on your coding ability. But the fourth question, fifth question, sixth question are basically in a increasing way of your thinking ability. The fourth one, we know that it's basically a yes question or a no question, and we'll support it by some plot. But what about the fifth question, sixth question? So we have to answer it. You may pause it and think of the answer, and I will answer it, or I will think when it would be required, when I will be answering the fifth question. So now let's of course I have made a script.py. I'm using Python. So now I am writing a script. So basically now what I did is I imported pandas, numpy, and matplotlib. These are particularly the most basic uh, like libraries for the data science. So numpy is basically you can read the numbers. Pandas are basically to read the CSV files and to change it. The basically it's like an Excel for me. Matplot, pyplot, the name suggests it used for plotting. I imported it first because it's like an habit. And this is basically a comment of how I import the data set. So I import a data set df equals to pd.csv, and this particularly I want a petrol price comparison.csv, which is like a file which I downloaded it in front of you. The print df.head and then print.df.info. The head will print basically top five column or rows, like the rows one. The info will print all the columns, what can I say, like the structure or column data type. Okay, so if I run this thing, so like python 3 script.py, you can see we have some country, like this this is basically the head one. So you can see 0 1 2 3 4, of course 0 1 2 3 4, 5, top 5 is been printed, and the column name, the non null count, and the data type. Okay, so what's the first idea? Like the first question is, how did the global oil price change during the conflict? First question. Okay, and then, so seeing the steps, we have a thing like clean the data set, have some missing value. If not, then clean it. So can I see, is there any null value? Yes. And how may I can see is basically if I see, go to my own file, let's say climate.ms, I wrote a code, not a code, it's particular a line that can be seen over here. So basically this, uh, I did the same thing that I showed here. Okay, yes. So basically this line. This check the annual data after cleaning and modifying the data set. It basically shows you, is there any null value of not. So I will just copy thing and then I'll just paste it. What I would do is basically uh, it like sums up all the blank value. Okay, so if there is any blank value, it will show. Okay, so giving everything is 0, these are the columns name, and everything is 0 says that there is no cleaning value, like there is no missing value. And when there is no missing value, so the third step is totally skipped. Now, we will answer the question, how did global oil price change during the conflict? So you may ask why if you see why I opened petrol prices comparison.csv. I can, like, if you see, if I clear this thing and then I see, you can see that we have country impact, crude oil daily petrol price, pros and cons, war timeline. So when did I particularly use this thing? So if I show you, you can see the column names are particularly country, ISO, like the shortcut, region, currency. Now you can see before war price, and there would be a before war USD oil import, PCT increase, trend, amount change. You see amount change, which is the price. Now, and what the question was, how did a global oil price change during the conflict? So what it is basically we have to show before and after price. So basically, if I say that I have already a column of amount change, wouldn't be a simple thing to plot? Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. So that's why I opened this thing. So as I said that now what I have to do is I have to basically make let me see. Okay, so what I have to do is I have to make an amount change. So like I have to see first, like I didn't see the so now the amount change is particularly some values. So let's what let's do something that let's print just a column. And to print just a column, when we have to print a particular point, we have to like df dot and we have to print particular like when we to when we have to print particular column. So what we have to do is print dot df, then we have the square brackets and the column name. This time we have amount underscore change, and then just print it. Okay, so the amount change name is not defined. Amount, and what I've written is amount change. Let me just copy paste this thing, and then first let me okay change this particular thing. Hmm. Now if I run this thing, amount is not defined. Hmm. So the error type is usually the amount name is not defined. See. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, I got it. So basically, of course, this is a string, and it should be like in between the post office. So now if I run this, yeah, it would run. So here you can see this whole thing. So now I have to print those two things because I have to print the country and as well as the amount change. So let me write it. The amount change as well as the country. Okay. Okay, so I have to write it twice and print df, then country, and then boom. Yeah. So we can see if we come, let's make it sideways. So how to print some specific column in my. So basically, if I want to print something, I can write it like this. Okay, got it. Often I forget some lines, and of course we can, uh, rather than comparing ourselves, we can just Google it, just like how I did. Even though I'm making a video of like a walkthrough kind of thing, but it shows like now if I try to run this thing, you can see. Let me first wait a second. Let me comment it out. So when I comment it out, that means in Python, if I put a hashtag in front of the line, that means it take it as a comment. So it won't matter. And now you can see there is a country names and the amount change. So you can see on the zeros we have the Pakistan $55 change because uh, all of these values are in dollars. You can see we have all the values in dollars. There is nothing named as the any other currencies like pound and rupees and other stuff. So like there's a very good thing because it doesn't have any other kind of like the price kind of things like the dollars and some countries has INR and all sorts of things. So we don't have to change this thing. It would be a big hassle. But it would like Pakistan has a $55 change, India has currently zero, Bangladesh five, Afghanistan zero, Nepal $4, Sri Lanka. So let me go first to the idea text. The first thing is how did global oil prices change during the conflict? So the before and after. So how did it often like this thing? Read it again. Global oil price before versus the after. Like what they want is the how did the global oil price change during the conflict. Okay, so I can show the graph of this, like each country and the amount change. So the country can be in the x-axis and the amount would be on the y-axis and plotting this plot, like making this plot happen. And that can be, so let me plot a graph. Okay, so you can plot a graph and make it on the x-axis something, y-axis something. So now I'm taking the help of my own repo that made me did all these things, all the plots and stuff. So if I can find my own script.py, I guess so in this I didn't do much. I think I did it in this Jupyter notebook. Most of the time GitHub doesn't show your notebook, but yeah, it did this time. Okay, so yeah, this time I did something. So like label bin df. Okay, so we have the plt.figure. So like plt.figure and the fig size I didn't notice that the font should be bigger because you will be seeing these things in like phone or stuff, so it would be a hassle for you. But yeah, I did it right now. Okay, so basically this is the figure size. Then we have the mm, the plots and stuff. So here I've made a plot which is basically a SNS plot, bar plot. But I want the plot to be on a safer side and I don't want any bar plot. So I will see something else. Okay, so this one. Mm, this is basically a country high rate percentage where I made some legends like a mathematical group and size and stuff. And this one has some. So I got it. What I want to do is, of course, this is how you learn and make something by seeing your old plots. So till now, what I got is this thing that I can write X, Y as the thing. So let me search it first. Uh, make a plot in MATLAB. How to put column in X axis and Y axis. So it would show me something. Yep, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So what I was thinking that like X equals to the gender, that is the column's name, Y equals to score. So this is basically the labeling part. But this is how I had to make it. So basically the first one is the x-axis value, the second one is the y-axis value. So what I would do is just copy paste this line and then I would paste it here. You can change the markers and stuff. And now what I want on the y-axis is the amount change, and on the x-axis should be the country. You can even tilt it a little so that you can see those things like in a very fruitful manner, but oftentimes I don't prefer because it's very like unprofessional thing. Okay, so the plt dot title, let's say this is the amount change. So this is right now a rough thing. So I will take it on a serious note when everything would be done, and I will be doing the last part, like finishing touch, I would say. Now, the X label, that is the amount change to, so it would be the amount and no underscore and change, and then plt dot Y label as the country. Oops, sorry, I made a mistake. So this would be X and this would be Y. And now what I would do is I will just save fig and then the name, because I don't want to show it because oftentimes it didn't show because it shows error that it is not like it's basically a visualized thing or something, so it won't show in my PC. So I will just save it and name it like amount change and country. Okay, dot png. So I will just save it, and now what I would do is I just run this file and hope to, okay. Oh, there is some spelling mistake. Yes, Figure, Figu. Okay. Oh. another spelling mistake. So basically, LABL. Yep. So often it didn't show anything, but you can see amount change country, and you can open it by file explorer, and then oftentimes here, and then home, file code, and global particles, and over here, if I just open this thing a bit, so this is basically the plot. And now you, that's what I'm saying, that now you can see all things are merged. Okay. So what I want to do is I will just make it the size a bit bigger. You can do it by this thing. Rather than 8 by 16, you can do it 19 by 6 ratio, and then you can run this thing, and again it will run, and then you just refresh it, and now you can see it's done. So Pakistan has some value, India and blah 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 blah. Now what? Oh, you can see the y-axis also has amount change, and the this thing also has amount change. So this is country, and this is the title. Okay, so this is the plot, but does it answer your question? The question still remains that, like, nano idea.txt. The question was, how did the global oil price change during the conflict? So I can show you, like, how did the oil price change during the conflict? So I can show, like, this are the reasons that are that's being affected, and this thing I can write. So I can write. So basically, I can say that this all countries have a issue that they uh, get in terms of the confliction, and then their price of the petrol get higher or lower. So I can say that the Bangladesh has some value, the Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Turkey got some affected, but other didn't affect much. Same goes for Afghanistan. India is one of the least one, but the Pakistan has the most amount of change in their petrol. So what my question arises, still, if I like take it as your examination, like in your exam, how did the oil price change during the conflict? And I will just show paste this graph, so it won't do much. So what I do is, what if I put some values, like the actual values over here, maybe, and then what I've written is price column and country column that I did, and price, global oil price before versus after. So it's basically the shows the amount change. So this is the amount change. But what I'm thinking is, what if I just put some values, the actual values that can show over here, and like give you a proper example, because you can see over here. Okay, so like let me show you. Okay, so India has like 0.00, Pakistan, Afghanistan 0.0, but Nepal has 4.0, 5.0, 2.0. Now all these things comes in a straight line, but are they? No, 0.02, 0.04, 0.03, 0.06, 0.07, 0.07, 0.5. But in this plot is seen as the single graph. So what I would do is I will just put some value over here that can be shown, and it would be better. So uh, let me write it, how to print the values of dot, no, not of points in that lab plot. Also, we have particularly value, but often I have a value over here. I have the amount change. So, yeah. So at that time, I was super sleepy, so I just went to sleep. So, coming back to another point. So, the point is that what I want to do is I want to place this kinds of notation. Okay, so I have a Stack Overflow point. Okay, so let me first open my terminal, open my Ubuntu, because that's how things will go on. Let me see. Okay, bin activate now. Okay, now I'm again in the folder that where I want to be. So it shows that we have a x-axis, y-axis, and then I plot it, and we have the string values and all stuff. So did I get it? No. So what I want to do is actually I want to name all those things, right? The actual picture, let me open it. Mm, yep. So as I told you that I want some values, because over here you can see these values are different. Okay, so I want to change those things, and first, and like matplot, I like there is the answer, like they are writing the answer, but I'm not getting that thing. How can I do all those stuff? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'll just write here. So I'll write it. Um, Hey GPT, I have a plot uh, made with Python MATLAB, and what I want to do is to print their actual values of the point present on the plot. Okay. Uh, so yeah, that's the thing. This thing was written by in the websites and all those stuff. Print the data you already plotted, and this. Then you just print this. Click. Now I would say that uh, I have a data set, and I printed, like I plotted a figure graph from it, and I want the points basically. So yeah, then your points are literally this. Okay. Okay. So just let me do one thing. I'll just print it, because plt.xy. Yes, this. I'm not getting this thing. Like why I am doing, and like how does it work? But if it works, yeah, I have a issue. that X is not defined. For the people who who knew what is the mistake, I know, like I appreciate those things, but particularly right now, I am in a situation where the weather is so good that I can't think of something. So I will just do a very noob thing. I'll just Control C, Control V, and then boom, it will do all this stuff. This is a clean set. Okay, so for country value, okay, so basically this was like this one, particularly for this one. Oh, so this one the so basically this is a basically template of what I want to do. Cool. Hmm. Okay, so I have around right now the print is okay, but if you want a cleaner version, this is the thing. Save the plot. Shows directly, this is perfect for a report. Okay. If you want the values from the plot object itself, no. Now, what I just copied, I didn't remember, but nope, I did a mistake. I didn't have to do this here. Okay. So over here, I just copy pasted, Control X, Control Y. Wow. And now if I look, let me see, because I can see over here, but I can't open it, because whenever I try to open it, this is a nano file. Of course, it's written. If I leave it, boom, that's what I wanted, and it's cool. Cool. Now, what is the first thing that? Okay, so the first thing is done. The second thing, which country experienced the highest petrol increase? Okay, so basically, hmm, petrol comparison. Okay, so I want to see the country impact first. So there is some countries, and over here you can see the GDP impact, PCT inflation risk, stock market, market change, currency, blah 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 blah. Hmm. I want to make another folder. There is a country underscore script dot py, and the first thing I want to do is nanoscript dot py. I'll just copy paste this thing, and then this country, oh sorry, country underscore script dot py, and copy paste. First let me check all First, let me check all the problems. If if it has some but wait. Country impact dot CSV. That's the line, and I have to delete this thing. Cool. Okay. So as you can see, there is no null value. There is no, like, all the data set is been present over here as string, int, float, blah blah blah. So again, what I want to do is everything is good. I just print all those things. Now I want to do is print df. Can it do this thing? Yes. So there's only 16 columns. That's fine. 16 rows to be precise. And there is a total 10 columns. Hmm. There are some policy response. Okay, so the idea is basically, first let me see the idea, is basically which country experienced the highest petrol price increase. So what if I like, if the question is like, if I can write it again, uh, let's say, yeah, so let's say if the is like country which country shows the most vulnerability vulnerability to this war. You can include all these columns like this policy response, whatever happened, this vulnerability thing, all those things. Okay, the total thing is petrol price increase, and that can be done if I can print all the columns. Okay, so let me see the values, how to print all the columns name in a data frame Python. Okay, it was pretty simple, but I was a bit confused. ULOUMNS, is it right? No. Okay, so basically country, region, oil import, PCT, GDP impact, inflation risk, stock market change, currency pressure, policy response, vulnerability, population. And it was petrol price increase. Well, if you see, the petrol price increase is totally seen in this graph. Which country shows the most amount change is this? Pakistan by $55. So the chat GPT that gave us the question is a bit sus because, oh, how did global oil price changes during this conflict? And I plotted an overall picture. And now, which country experienced the highest petrol price increase? You can write Pakistan. Which region suffered the most can be seen over here if I plot two things. That is the, if I see the region, so I have particular many regions and the region and the vulnerability over here. So if I can print like nano country, yeah. So what if I try to print the first thing is the region, okay, and the second thing is the vulnerability. Vulnerability. Oh, so basically I have to write in, I think, in apostrophe terms. Index is not callable. Okay, let me write how to print specific columns in data frame. Column name, okay. Okay, so basically I have to write it like this. Cool. So the mistake I did is I boom, boom. Yes. Now if I try to run this thing, and I'm getting an error. Firstly, I don't want this. Then df. Okay, I'm writing a columns thing. Okay, okay, my bad. So as you can see over here, South Asia has critical, high, critical. So what I want to do is, what if for the region part we have like for the first four columns we have three critical, two high. East Asia moderate, high, and high. Europe Asia high. Europe moderate, moderate. North America low. Middle East low, critical. Oceania moderate, and Africa high. Hmm. So what I can do to make this type of graph where where if plot requires, because I can say that hmm this can be a critical thing, not critical, I would say, like a creative thing to do, to either to plot this thing or whatever I have in my mind, that I can point is like low being the 0, moderate being the 5, on like 5, high means like 7, 8, and the critical means 9 and 10 on a vulnerability scale from 0 to 10, from like low to critical. And other things can lie over there, and you can see, or I can see that like say South Asia has how many critical, East Asia have what, Europe and what have what type of thing. Hmm. So this is also a thing, like this kinds of thing give you a boost in your resume. And frankly I'm not getting one, because how can I plot or how can I show this thing? So I will just copy this thing and let the chat GPT do this thing. Okay, so I will just copy paste this, and then I will just copy my question thing as well. No. Oh, I mistakenly did this. Okay, so remote, and how can I show it, like by plot for my CV? Okay, so this is going to yeah, that's what I said. Yes, that's what I say. That being the low to 0, moderate to 2. Oh, so like this made it from 0 to 1, 0 to 5, like from low 1 to 5, low being the 1. We have severity map, low, moderate, high, critical, and all this stuff. Hmm. And then we have a professional bar graph. Optional desert stand out. Nah, I don't want to that. So what I thought is particularly one of those things that I like. Like me and Chad did the same maths, but Fine. Now what I want to do is I will just copy this thing, the logic, and just plot it. So I don't want to show, so I'll just did this, and just Python C, everything done, and then I can see the ls and I can see the vulnerability png, and boom, where is it? Just refresh. Okay, so this is the graph that I was talking about. So you can use AI like how I use, but you should use your brain as well. So I have South Asia being the most critical version region, Africa, Europe, East Asia, Europe. What this thing is basically Europe and Asia, East Asia, Europe, Middle East, Oceania, North America. Fine. I had a thought that what if I just remove like this column, like Europe and Asia, to either being Europe, like it's three, right? So like 1.5 to Asia, 1.5 to Europe, but that would be creating a chaos that the data would be data is manipulated. That is not in the like we shouldn't do all this kind of thing. We shouldn't manipulate the data to change its value and change the logic and change the result of actual data. So now the third question, no. Like the fourth question, are oil import dependent countries most vulnerable? Well, that can be answered by this PNG, because usually what happen is the Middle East country are those country who import like export those things. So on the scale of vulnerability, it's like the third largest, like third smallest. But if you see over here, if low being 1, and you can see over here 2 represents moderate. Okay, so if you haven't seen this thing, I did it very fastly. So this thing, if I can show the severity map, the moderate shows this 2. So and the middle is shows as 2.000. That means that vulnerability on the vulnerability scale from 0 to 5, middle list is on the scale of 5. Not sorry, it's on 2. Okay. Now, which economies face the biggest risk from risking fuel prices? This shows the GDP graph, and this GDP graph can be shown in like country impact. I think so, because the country impact has all the columns. Where it was, yes, inflation risk, current currency pressure, GDP impact. So what I want to do is I want to print the GDP impact, inflation risk. Okay, so here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, around 4 data types. Okay, so let's make another file and let's name it as nano and currency.py, and then I will just do one thing, country script, and I will just not call this thing, I will just copy paste this, control X, and then control Y. Now Python 3 currency. Yep. Oh, why did it did this? Because I know like it was a habitual thing. I know that this data set is clean, like this particular CSV file. I shouldn't do that, but okay, fine. So what I have to do is print df, and all those things like what was the column name? I didn't remember. Yeah. So the GDP impact, PK, inflation, currency pressure. Okay. So I will copy paste this thing and then I have to do some manual work. Yep. Currency pressure. Now I did this. Boom, 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 boom. And a comma, then again a apostrophe. And again one comma. Well, this is all because I don't have to write everything, but yeah, this is a whole bunch of work, manual work to precise. Okay, so yes, now Python 3 currency. Okay, so the GDP impact, everyone has a minus. Inflation is very high, moderate, low, 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 extreme. One thing I just missed is the country. How can I just did this without the country column? CONTRY. Eh? Again. Now, so everyone has some values, stock market, and everything. So, what was the question first? I forgot it. Are oil import now? Which economies face the biggest risk from risking fuel prices? So basically, the highest GDP impact and the highest stock market. And over everything, I see the most extreme. Every country is severe high, low, everything. But this one country, Iran, shows me the inflation risk is high, extremely high. GDP impact is minus 8.0. So the next highest is around 2 point minus 2.5. Iran, extreme minus 5.0. So what is the highest? Everyone can know that this which economy face the highest, that is the Iran. What does this crisis mean for global energy transition? Hmm, I haven't seen the crude oil CSV file. This is the date when the blah, 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 and nothing of use. Now the pros and cons category economy type con. So impact level affected source. These are some kind of like a social type of pros and cons. So to answer a question like this, what does this crisis mean for the global energy transition? The global energy transition shows a type of, what can I say? Like, uh, for being a part of global energy transition, I can say the pros and cons analysis is the most uh, like the suitable thing to say, like to see, because the crude oil is having all the crude oil type of, yeah. Also, I have a thought in my mind. All the best data analysts use all this type of like all includes all this type of CSV to analyze one question rather than like me doing this kind of thing. But ChatGPT gave us some question and I'm trying to solve and answer those things. Simple as that. So now, if I say the most energy type of thing, have seen like the country part, like the policy response I think this is the most vulnerable thing that I can say, because other than that column, a country impact CSV file, like the petrol comparison is not at all in this picture. Water is not in this picture. Pros and cons is in the picture. Crude oil, like pros and cons is, but crude oil is not. So I'm thinking of using either country impact or pros and cons CSV file. Let me make a file, country pros, not pros, uh, vulner.py. Let's make it. Okay, so firstly, let me copy from this thing. Oh, I did copy the GNU full tagline as well. Okay, now I want to print. Oh, wait a second. I have to copy this because pros and cons CSV, enter, and then I will do remember. Okay, so now I will print all these pros and cons. Python C. Yep. So now I have seen that there is no anti, well, like no. Did I? No, I didn't copy that line. So I just copy this thing, paste it here. Now again I will run this thing. Yep, so everything is good. Now what I would do is I will just check all the columns. Okay, so firstly, what are the columns? The category, type, title, description, impact level affected. So we have the category as economy type of thing. We have types as con, prone, title, impressions, impact level high, affected, all these things. Actually, all of these things is important. Okay, so let me just print df, simple as that. Oh, it can't all the columns. So let me ask how to print whole data set in Python. Okay, pddf to string. Okay, pretty simple that. Yep, not so good idea, but fine. So basically I have a category of economy high, economy critical, blah 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 blah, title being affected. I have to okay, so basically I have to do like this so that you can see, but I don't see, think you can see this thing. Let it be like I can export this thing, right? uh, Sheet, let me go to the old way. So let me open. Okay, so okay, so I have the, I think I'll just upload it, and it was what graph? Pros and cons. Okay, So pros and cons analysis. I can't see the CSV file. Yep, CSV this one. Not petrol price increase, pros and cons analysis. This as it is CSV file. I hope. Yep. Okay, now cool enough. Okay, done. So I have all this thing control Z. Hmm. And a title. Okay. Affected source. Affected. Cool enough. Is it? Yes. Now, as you can see, I can see many more things over here. So now, okay. So I have economy categories as economy, environment, and geopolitics and all stuff. We have pros, cons. Okay. Now we have the title as well, description, impact level, affected, all energies, source, and blah blah blah. Okay. I again forgot the question. What was the question? Nano idea.txt. The question was, what does this crisis mean for global energy transition? Okay. So we have around one. We have multiple economy, some environment, some consumers, and some developing countries. Okay. Being the environment one is being pro accelerated green high price and okay. Net oil exports see high increased revenues, investment, GDP growth, which is economy and oil exporter windfall. Moderate oil exporters affected all this country, and then we have again the Pakistan, which is the answer of the first question, that was oil importing nation face severe foreign exchange drain, balance of payment crisis, that is the con for development countries. Inflation rate is like every 10% oil rise, 0.4% inflation increase, and blah 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 blah. And still the question remains that is the country like what type of changes has been. Hmm. So the global energy transformation, I will definitely say it's been on like what does this crisis mean for the global energy? For the energy transition, it's like you can see the environment folders, right? This, and this one. So basically, it is short-term emission. Developing countries may increase coal, dirty fuel use as an oil substitute, which is a low impact in developing economies. And other stuffs are basically environment pro accelerated green transition, high price incentives, renewable energy, EVs, and energy efficiency, which is a moderate globally. Okay, so I personally think that what does this crisis mean for the global energy transition? It's on a good end, because by plotting this thing, I can say, not plotting, like by answering by questioning these three columns, I can say even the impact level is okay, it's moderate and low, but I can still say it's been on a like a good end to answer all those things. Like you can see like around three environment columns we have 2 pros and 1 con. That's what I think particularly. Maybe you can see in a different way. That's what it is, data analysis. So, how can I show this thing particularly? I cannot plot. I can just answer this thing, right? Hmm. So what can I do? Okay, so I think now what I have to do is I'll just go over here and right here, and then I'll just paste this question. Uh, these are your questions and my answer with attached plot with it. And can you help me making a report of it so that I could attach it with my uh, resume. Okay, so the first question was this: how did the oil price change during the conflict? And the particular answer is uh, that first graph that we plotted. Okay, so where's ChatGPT, and then I have this. Then we have amount change per country, and then yep, the first plot shows the global oil price amount change, and in the bracket I can write like difference as before and after. Now the second question is where's the second question? Go, I remove it. The second will, which country experienced the highest petrol price increase? And I can write Pakistan, as you can see from the graph. So as you can see, $55 is the price bracket that I wrote. Now the third question, that is which region suffers the most, and we have a particular plot for it. So I have region vulnerability. Okay, the second plot shows the like region suffering. Okay, and to be precise, what I did is, should I write it because it can show, right? um, Leave it. I can write it in the doc file and all stuff. No, let's write it. I did it by, wait a second, I will just, nope, not this, ls nano script idea currency, right? No, what else? ls.py, oh sorry, ls star.py. We have the country script, currency script, vulnerability. Let's write script.py. No, nano country script.py. Yeah, so I just copy this, paste it over here, Now the fourth question is nano idea.txt. Are all import dependent or vulnerable? And answer is by a CSV file which shows the uh, reason vulnerability. Okay, so now what I have to do is I'll just do one thing that I just found out at Iran point. Yep. So I'll just copy this, which shows, and like this, severe. And as you can see, Iran is the most severe country. And the question was particularly, are oil important currency are vulnerable? And does the answer is yes. Fifth one, that is the second most easy, like not the easy question, but like the last one. Which economies face the biggest risk of war? Which economies most, which economy face the most biggest risk warring? So by the previous column that I showed, you can answer it, because what I think is not a particular answer. I think so. What does this crisis mean for global transition? And I'll just blah blah. And what I would do is uh, I will just download this file as not a CSV file, a PDF file where I can export. Downloading PDF, and I will do this, that I would control copy and then control paste, and then in the answer I will write as the attached PDF can answer your question. Cut. So I did everything, like given everything. Now it showed me some things. It has the section and everything. That's a good work. Now turn this into one page. Have to create. Okay. Well, particularly I have a GitHub as well. So really want this to be in my GitHub. And to be precise, I don't have one to like on my README file, because like you can see over here, this is the repo, and over here this all thing are the files that is been like, this is basically the copy paste of the data set. Okay. And so the first thing is turn this into a report summary. Okay. And blah 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 blah. I don't want this, so I just have a particular file over here that can write everything. So I'll just make a doc file. I can't open my doc file as it would be my personal things as well. So yep. I would add a project link here, and I would do my job. Now I want a GitHub as well. So yep, same thing. Give me, I am very lazy, so give me the HTML code so that I can copy, paste, and the work is done. Simple. So as you can see, how I made all these things in a very short period of time. Being from the global, like taking the data set from the Kaggle, okay, by searching out the Kaggles and finding out the data set, like here what I did. Even you can upload your code here and write some comments. Like you can see there are no comments right now, but there are people who uploaded their notebook, the Jupyter notebook, like you can see over here. The people, like this person, this gentleman wrote his how he did importing and working over all the data set. You can do this as well, but I personally prefer going over here. So yep. And this is how I made with the help of AI, not particularly using everything as AI. Of course I will change some kind of things where I would do, of course, the first answer, the first how I did all those things is with the help of AI. So I would definitely say, if you're using a portfolio, if you're making any type of project, do make a type of project that should stand out, as well as do not try to make things that are already there, and do not use totally AI, just like how I did right now to write the globe this PDF. That should be totally yours. Okay, I did it because I want to show you how you can write a particular one page. If I copy this thing in the doc file, you can see you it had some columns and all stuff. Then overview what I did, key contribution, key insights, being the answers of those questions as the bold one. So here you can write those things. And to show this thing, I made like I help like took the help of AI and particularly this thing, the AI point of this readme file. Yeah, you can take the help of AI because many of my GitHub, even this is particularly copied from the Kaggle dataset, so you don't have to copy paste. But majorly of my repos readme file is from this thing, like the AI stuff. So yeah, thank you for listening to me till here, and thank you for being here till now. Next video can be a bit different. So, and of course, I know it's been a long while since I made a video, but thank you for listening.